relaxing wander in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is the latest entry in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and if you are watching this video on the day it comes out, well then this game is only just released. It's brand new. I, in fact, recently unboxed the collector's edition of this game. We took a look at some of the fun little collectibles and items in that package, and I'll put a link that you can click through on if you want to check that out. One of those collectibles was a 12-inch tall statuette of this character right here, the main protagonist, Eivor Wolf-Kissed. And we find ourselves here today on a small island off the coast of Norway called Reykjavik, or something close to that. That's about the best I can do to pronounce it. And we're just going to take a soothing wander through these gorgeous environments that the developers at Ubisoft have created. There won't be any combat. Eivor doesn't like that water, it's chilly. That's fair. No combat, no story, no spoilers, really, nothing like that. Those of you who have played the game already might recognize this as the very beginning of the game. This is literally the first place that you get control of adult Eivor here, so yeah, we're just going to soak in the sights and sounds of these gorgeous, lush, carefully crafted environments. So we begin our wander today in this little abandoned coastal village. There's not a whole lot here. It looks like the inhabitants fled some time ago, but even still, there's some interesting things to see. These baskets out front here. Don't know if they're supposed to be for fishing, maybe, or just general storage. These thatched fences made of sticks. Quite humble. I like the front door of this house. The door itself is quite plain, but the entryway is adorned with skulls of what look to be rams or goats of some kind. And then we have this brightly colored carving to the right of the door. Let's head on inside. The people who lived here were clearly subsistence fisher people. Very humble lodgings. It does look like it's been abandoned for quite some time, actually, given the cobwebs all over the place. But it looks like it was abandoned in a hurry as well. Lots of personal effects have been left. Fabrics and cloths, blankets and such hanging up to dry. This massive bear pelt on the floor here. Surely that would be worth something. All kinds of fish nets strung up on the walls. This is being recorded on PC, if you're curious, with all the graphics on their highest settings, running at 1440p resolution. So, this is about as good as it gets in terms of visuals. I suppose I could be running at 4K, but I do not possess a 4K monitor, so that's not an option for me. I love the way the snow deforms. Red Dead Redemption 2 had similar technology. And actually going all the way back to Assassin's Creed 3, I recall, Ubisoft implemented that snow deformation tech. It's a cozy little fire, left burning by somebody who was here recently, but probably not the original inhabitants of this village, if I had to guess. More fish nets. This small building here has shields with all kinds of painted symbols and designs all over the front. But it's also clearly been overgrown by ivy. More lovely carvings on either side of the door. Some candles against the wall there. Lots of hides in this house. Big bundle of them here. And against this wall, foodstuffs of various kinds. Big crusty loaves of bread. As well as a number of fresh vegetables and fruits, actually. It looks like cabbages, maybe parsnips, what look to be apples, perhaps. These people were eating well, not just fish. I have to imagine that many of those kinds of produce would have to come from afar, simply because the climate here does not look hospitable for farming. But maybe it's the winter months right now, and perhaps at other times of year it's more amenable to agriculture. Beautiful sunlight. Sun is low in the sky. Must be late afternoon. Signs of a struggle here. Weapons and shields left on the floor. Once again, the inhabitants left in a hurry. All kinds of vegetables just left on the table. I see onions, carrots, bread and cheese. It looks quite tasty, actually. I like the ravens. Their occasional cawing. I've always loved ravens. They're very clever birds. Very charismatic. Alright, well, I feel like we've seen a lot of this settlement. Why don't we head on up the hillside, see if we can get a better view of the island from up there. Many of the shrubs around here there's indirect lighting going on here. The white, the bright snow, is reflecting the kind of yellowy sunlight from that direction, and it's actually illuminating Eivor's face, bouncing off the snow, giving it a warm light. I reckon we're gonna have to climb here. Look at the moss. Detail on the moss. Quite something. Good thing Eivor is a world-class free climber. Makes it much easier to explore this island. Oh, I'm sorry. Did not mean to frighten that deer. This almost looks like a little stable spot or something. Probably not, but there's lots of hay for animal feed. Stacked wood for a fire. And way up there, on the peak of this rock, pinnacle of the island, I reckon we'll be able to get a much better feel for the area. Let's climb on up. Here we are, the island of Reykjavik. In the distance, you can see the stronghold of Avaldsnes, or something close to that. We might wander on over that way. Why don't we get a good 360 here? It's a stunning landscape. The mountains in the distance are rugged and beautiful. Shall we take a little leap? A little dip in that pool below? Brisk. No doubt very cold, but our A4 here seems to be able to handle it pretty well. It must be her rugged Viking resilience. It's a very pretty little pool. Look at all the leaves floating in it. And a lovely little waterfall. It's quite peaceful. We'll climb down here, or just jump. That works too. The world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla is, of course, large and open, and once you get past the tutorial section, you can pretty much do whatever you like, I think, in terms of exploring around. I do believe the first part is set in Norway here. Then after a time, you make your way to England. What's that? It sounded like a little creature of some kind. Not sure what kind or where, though. Seems to have run off. Lots of birds here. Easily startled, it would seem. I do like the sound of the crunching footsteps. It makes that scary noise because we're in an area that's restricted. If there were bad guys here, they might come after us, but no bad guys here. Already dealt with them. Just love the lighting. It's so dramatic. Really well done. We've happened upon another overgrown building here. This one looks like it's been abandoned for a very long time. What with small trees growing out of the roof. But I suppose we may as well take a look inside. Look at the front of this building. It's just festooned with all kinds of items. From shields to chains, skulls, big antlers, and then pottery as well, and baskets. Once again, I think someone was here more recently than the original inhabitants. Given that there's a fire lit, someone was here trying to stay warm, but clearly no one's lived here for quite some time, given the state of decay of the items in here and all the cobwebs everywhere. Like the crackling sound of this brazier. I also like the way that Eivor's face is lit by that window in front of her there, as well as the brazier, and the light coming in from the door. Well, I think we should take a little trip over to the coastline here. I seem to recall that there's a camp of sorts, once inhabited by smugglers, down by the water. No more, however. The smugglers, I mean, the camp is still there. But why don't we take a less than direct route? Why don't we take a wander through this little bit of forest over here? Oh, look at these gorgeous red flowers here. They're quite pretty. Maybe they're just leaves. Hard to tell if they're just very bright leaves or if they're flowers. Oh, it looks like there might be a sounds it makes. Again, I'm not too worried about getting Evor's feet wet. She doesn't seem to mind too very much. Why don't we follow the stream down to the coast, and then from there we'll head to the camp. This would be bitterly cold in real life. Highly unpleasant, no doubt. Here we've reached the mouth of this little stream by the ocean. These big waves rolling in. That sunlight illuminating the snow. Really pretty. It's actually pretty stark right around here. No trees to speak of, just snow and rocks. Some kind of creature up on the hillside. Oh, it's a puffin. Just flying around. Oh, and another. Goodbye, puffin friends. And here's the camp I spoke of. The puffins are a bit loud, aren't they? Looks from the banners here that this probably did belong to pirates or bandits. Some very threatening looking banners. Appears to depict a skull. Once again, it's an off-limits area, but it's okay. No one's going to bother us. We've got some wrecked longships here. They've certainly seen better days. I love the way the prow of these ships is carved. The figureheads. I think that's what they're called, figureheads, up in the front. And then we've got this icy crag sitting just off the coast here. Difficult to climb, but there is a way up. Might be fun to get to the top. See what the view is like. Why don't we go for a little hop here? We'll try and avoid the frigid waters. Although, as we already know, Eivor here doesn't seem to mind them too much. I like all the gently falling snow. is, honestly. But it's giving off very faint tendrils of smoke. I think to keep going up, we're not able to climb on the ice. I think we have to jump down here. Like so. The sky is so dramatic with the sun just barely peeking out past the clouds there. We have to be careful not to slip here. I think we can climb here. Let's go for it. We can climb as long as there's no ice. And indeed, we found a way up. But I think to get to the very top, we're actually going to have to make that ladder work for us. I'll show you what I mean in a moment, but let's just enjoy this cheerful fire here to warm up on our journey to the top of this sea stack, because it's a chilly endeavor. I'm sure the fire is a very welcome sight for Eivor here. Look at all the waves out over the sea there. Massive swells. Although I'm sure they do get much larger in waters like these when it's stormy out. The weather right now is quite pleasant. Alright, let's see if we can get that ladder down. Oh, that was not a good shot. Almost there. There we go. Third time's the charm. It's kind of hard when you're just aiming by eye. Yet another fire awaits us here. But I suppose we're already pretty warmed up from the last one. Collection of chests and crates, and a pinnacle that perhaps we can climb to. Let's see. And there we are. There's our raven friend. Always with us. Those beautiful waves rolling in along the coastline, crashing against the icy rocks. I just love the feeling of the barely restrained power of the sea. Looking at those waves, those swells. White-capped. So much power. It's beginning to snow. And of course the mighty mountains in the distance. Looking spectacular. Snow-clad. Well, my friends, this might be where we end our little wander here today. There's certainly much, much more to see in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'll be playing it over the next while, and if you would like, I would be happy to do more of these wanders with you. So please do let me know if you'd like to see more. There's more of Norway, of course, and then there's a great deal of England to see as well. I'm sure it will be just as lovely. Thank you very much for joining me on this wander today. I hope you found it as relaxing as I did. And I look very forward to having you along again next time. Farewell for now, my friends.